Hi, yeah, nice to meet you. Do you have like any other pieces of advice for someone like me who's at the start of their career? So tomorrow morning I am meeting with the CEO of the company that I work for. I've got a half-hour meeting with him and slightly nervous about it, I won't lie. So many people have been asking me about this coffee break because I heard about this coffee break ages ago and I mentioned it in a vlog and it was like, what, little old me invited for coffee with the CEO of the company. But it has taken 2 months for the coffee break to be organised because it turns out the CEO is a very busy person. It's a one-on-one coffee break and I was told you can prepare questions for him if you like, or you can go in completely unprepared. It's up to me, but obviously being me, I like to plan everything. So I've been planning out what I'm gonna ask him, and also I've had a load of help from you guys. I can't thank you guys enough. I put on my Instagram a few months ago when I first heard about the news and I was completely reeling from it. I was like, help, what do I ask the CEO about? I've got a half-hour break to talk to him and I feel like it's not just natural conversation. I'm slightly intimidated by him because he's so successful. He's a very important person within the insurance industry and within the corporate world. There's not much I can relate to there. I need to find the common interests so, you know, the conversation can just flow. Also, just to give a bit more background, because some of you might have missed the initial video and really be wondering to yourselves, how is Paige, a new graduate at this company, meeting up virtually with the CEO of the company? Seems a little bit of a weird matching for a coffee break. Well, it's a coffee randomizer I signed up for. It's supposed to be a young professionals coffee randomizer across the whole company, and loads of the young people at my company are then paired up randomly every quarter to have a coffee. The CEO is just the head of the company, has years and years and years of experience, is probably around my parents' age, and signed up for the randomizer to show his support for the initiative. I was chosen randomly out of the hundreds of people on this randomizer list to see the CEO. The chances of it were quite slim, but it happened. Okay, here are the suggestions for what I should ask the CEO. I'm going to give a few honourable mentions actually, because there was some really top-notch suggestions here. Some people said I should ask for a pay rise. Not sure I'm cheeky enough for that. One of my friends from university says I need to ask him to like, subscribe and leave a comment. Probably should do that, but I need to raise the fact that I have a YouTube channel first. Should I talk to him about my YouTube? I think I'm gonna. If you're a biscuit, what biscuit would you be? That is a very interesting question. I need to think about that one. I think I'd be a jammy dodger. No particular reason. I just see myself as a jammy dodger. This was my favourite one. Just play it cool. CEO? What's that? Something to do with admin? That one's fantastic. Also would be quite a risky strategy, I think, throwing jokes around like that. Do a laundry segment. That would be epic, actually. I think one of the best laundry segments I've ever done. But I had a hard time convincing my university friends to get on laundry segment, let alone a CEO, so I'm not sure I'll get so far with that one. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who sent in ideas, because seriously, within all of the funny answers, there were actually some really seriously good answers that I have whittled down into the questions that I'm asking him tomorrow. First topic of conversation is going to stem from the fact that I'm a fairly new hire to his company, and I'm going to feed back to him what it's been like starting working from home. And honestly, it has sucked. I haven't really been enjoying it. I'm grateful to have the job, of course I am, and I know I'm lucky to have a room in my parents' house to stay and to be in good health, but also it's been tough, and I've spoken about this in past videos, going from seeing all of my uni friends living in a house of 10 other young people to the only interaction I get with people other than my parents being through a screen through Microsoft Teams calls. It's been hard adapting to, and I don't see it being a sustainable way of working for me. I know a lot of people enjoy working from home, but I am very keen to get back into an office. If my company were to cut down on office spaces or suddenly make remote working a much more prominent thing at the company, I'd really be considering whether I wanted to stay there. And I want to give that feedback. I could be the spokesperson for the young people who want that social life, who want to meet new people. I'm single and I'd like to meet a man sometime. I'm not going to meet a man sitting in my bedroom at home, am I? I'm envisioning that as like the starting part of the call where, you know, we're like, hey, let's introduce ourselves here. Then I'm launching into questions for him. What advice does he have for someone like me at the start of my career? What have been the biggest challenges and biggest risks of his career? Any advice for a graduate to network and make connections within the industry? Because let's face it, if he's a CEO, he must be really good at networking. I suck at networking. I run away from groups of people I don't know because I am scared. What motivated you to choose your field? I.e., what motivated him to work in insurance? What does your typical day look like? Some of these I might not get around to asking, but I thought it's better to have too many questions than not enough questions. I bet he doesn't really have a typical day. I bet every day is different for a CEO. They're probably just running around really big business meetings and making huge decisions with huge amounts of money. I can imagine it's quite high pressure as well. But I don't want to ask him things like, do you get stressed and do you feel fulfilled by your job? Because that feels a bit personal, you know? I don't want to overstep the boundary. Finally, some fun topics of conversation. I'm going to ask him about his hobbies, and I'm going to ask him if he has any pets, because secretly I want to talk about my pet, my dog. I could talk about my little dog Buster for ages. He's going to tell me whether or not he has any pets, and I'll listen politely. Then of course he's going to have to ask back, well, do you have any pets? Why, yes, I do. Funny you should ask. I have a little border terrier called Buster, who I love very much. And he is the best. And yeah, that is basically my plan. I've got a conversation plan. It's probably not going to end up going that way at all because he's going to have his own ideas. And you can't plan out conversations entirely. But at least I've got some conversation starters if I need them prepared. I don't want awkward silences. I'm actually a lot less nervous than I felt when I first saw the email inviting me to this virtual coffee break. I was slightly worried when I first heard about it. I did not expect to be having one-on-one interaction with a huge London CEO this soon into my career, but here we are. We've got to take every opportunity as it comes. I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation. It's at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, so first thing, got to make sure I'm up on time, got to make sure I look put together. I can't be wearing this sort of outfit tomorrow. I've got to put a blouse on, right? Anyway, I'm going to sign off now and get a good night's sleep. I think I'm going to be stressing tomorrow morning about this. See you guys in the morning. Okay. Just about to join the meeting. Yes, I'm nervous this morning. It's gonna be fine. He's not there yet. Okay. Good morning. Hi, yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, it's a blue sky actually I'm looking at. I've got a nice desk at the window. Only a few months, because I only started it last September as a graduate, so I joined the Coffee Randomizer a few months later. Yeah, it's my first full-time job. Yeah, I graduated last summer. I did an internship in 2019, so I had a bit of an idea of what to expect, which was good. Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved the office atmosphere. I was really like split with what to do. I did Astrophysics at uni and really got a keen interest in space, but kind of decided it wasn't a very like reliable career path. Like there's not really any job security, and I just didn't want to put myself through the stress of that. And then I was speaking to a family friend, I think worked at actually, and he was an actuary there. It just sounded interesting. I know I enjoy maths, so looked into that, did the internship, and that kind of sold it for me in my second year of university. Like mostly it was just the team that I was working in, and I kind of realised just the importance of like the people you work with. I'm quite excited to get into an office eventually, hopefully when things get better later in the year. I did so many cool modules at university on general relativity and quantum mechanics, stellar structure and evolution, and yeah, it just blows your mind really. Oh right, yeah. So I've been doing reserving mostly, just helping with reserve reviews. It's been a big learning curve, didn't know anything about insurance before starting. But no, everyone's been really friendly and helping me learn the ropes. Starting to get more confident with a bit of coding and stuff. Lots to come. No, I've been hearing all about these auto reserving techniques recently, and I've been like, oh gosh, the machine's gonna do it all for me. No, I haven't met anyone face to face aside from when I was on my internship a few years ago, which has been quite sad. No, it's definitely been tough. I think going from like a pre-COVID world at university where I was living with 10 other young people and I was out and about every day, to back in my parents' house now, just communicating through a screen the whole time. Like, hasn't been the greatest, but hopefully things will look up a bit. I know a lot of people have enjoyed working from home, but it hasn't been for me. Yeah, absolutely. No, the one good thing has been the lack of commute. I think I get a bit tired of staring at a screen the whole day, and I think like in-person meetings would kind of break that up a little bit more. And also just the kind of the coffee breaks, the lunch breaks and stuff, like getting to interact with colleagues in a more casual way. It's hard to get to know people, I guess, just via work calls. As much as you can try with the virtual socials, it's not quite the same. Yeah, we have had a few. We've actually got one this evening, actually, because it was the actuarial exams recently, so it's kind of a post-exam social for the students in the team. I do work on quite a few projects at any one time. Maybe like 5 people per week. Yeah. Do you have like any other pieces of advice for someone like me who's at the start of their career, doesn't know what they want to specialise in really at this point? I found it really interesting on some of the other coffee randomizer calls that I've been on so far, talking to people from like all the different divisions. And I think it was interesting, especially speaking to the apprentice, because she'd obviously gone a different route to me. I'd gone the university route and studied in a field completely separate from insurance, whereas she's training literally within the field. So I guess the work experience she's getting is just amazing so early on. The contrast between university and working a job is quite real. You suddenly have to know how to interact with colleagues, write emails and stuff, which I just wasn't used to at university. And even like using computers as well. I wrote most of my work at university by hand. A lot of it was maths and equations. I just wrote in a notebook, submitted that every week. It was very school-like. Yeah. Thank you so much for the advice. Nice speaking to you. Bye, you too. Did it. He was really friendly, and I needn't have been scared. I mentioned the fact that I really want to be back in the office, and that it has been tough starting a new job remotely, and I think he really understood that. He asked me how many people on average I interact with each week, and you know, I could probably count on one hand the number of different colleagues who I speak to in a week, because obviously I'm on project teams and I will ring people regularly and ask questions, but it's often the same people week to week. And I guess that's what I was saying to him. The thing that's sad about not being in office is you don't see people kind of sitting across the room from you. You don't get to meet the wider team, people who you don't directly work with. You don't get to form as many connections with while working from home. But he said he's looking forward to being in an office too, so that sounds good. You know, if the CEO wants to be in an office, then surely they've got to open up when the government says they can. He had a really interesting background, actually. Talked to me about how he got into the insurance field and his advice for me, which is to be curious and to network, as in kind of try out everything and make connections in the industry, which admittedly is a lot harder during a pandemic, but and we talked a bit about space and astrophysics. Now I've got to get to work, and honestly guys, this week is looking hellish. I mean, it's a Friday today, but going forward from now, I've got so much work. This time last week, I was saying I'm stressing out because I don't have enough work. This week could not be further from that. Suddenly I've picked up 3 new projects, is it? One of which I've got to do some projections for. So I'm actually going to be projecting the number of claims that I expect a certain class of business is going to get, given a ton of different information I've been given about the class and its historic experience. I'm just slightly worried about it because it's going to be complicated, and I've got a load of other projects on at the moment. I always start these calls with the resourcing team like, oh sorry, I don't think I have enough time to take on this project as well. And I always end the call saying, sure, yeah, I can help out with that. I don't know what happens, but you know, I'm gonna stop complaining and worrying and just get on with it. Give the video a like, subscribe to my channel, follow my Instagram, comment down below if you would ever like to be a CEO. I imagine it's very high pressure, so I'm not sure I would like to be a CEO, but let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye bye.